One of the things that really motivated me to write the article that I did about how sort of Stanford's administration was destroying social groups on campus was that I noticed how a lot of students were internalizing kind of the results of the bureaucracy as failures of their college experience. So Stanford, just for some context, it's a very diverse school and it's a very competitive school. So you have kids who are coming in as athletes, you have kids coming in from all over the country, you have kids from a lot of different socioeconomic brackets. It's more than, in my experience, like Harvard or Princeton or Yale or the kind of traditional Ivy League schools. They're really pulling different kinds of kids. And historically, Stanford has had this sort of patchwork of social groups that kind of cover each type of person that comes onto campus. And so you have fraternity life, sorority life, you have the co-op experience, you have ethnic themed houses that cover sort of like different subgroups. They have like French, German, Italian, and then also a Hispanic house and a Black house. And the result, at least talking to alumni, was that sort of every student would find a subgroup that really fit their identity on campus and build what were very divergent but all very like rich and meaningful college experiences in these subgroups. And what was happening at Stanford is that the administration was sort of, for very petty, arbitrary reasons, slowly chipping away at each one of these groups for various reasons. So you had you'd have a fraternity, would throw a party, there'd be an incident at the party, there's no more fraternity, and they replaced the fraternity house, which had sort of served as a cultural center for a certain kind of person, with a sort of generic house that would house like a mix of students who really had nothing in common. And when you do this again and again and again and again, you go down from maybe like 30 to 50 social groups on campus to like 10. And then everyone else who's not in one of these specialized social groups gets sort of pushed into this generic category of not being able to find connections on campus. You live in very isolated houses and far-flung places around school. And so what was happening is that instead of recognizing this as an administrative issue where students' freedom to associate was being, suppressed by the administration, where, you had a social group that was supposed to exist to serve a certain kind of student and it was being destroyed, you had kids who would come in really, really struggle to find a group because the group that had been created for that type of person at Stanford had been destroyed, and then blame it on some sort of failure. Like, I'm having a bad college experience, I'm not having enough fun, I'm not making friends, I'm lonely. And these are objective experiences. You're 18, 19, you don't have anywhere to go out at night, you don't have a community where you feel safe, you feel surrounded by people who are really different from you, you don't kind of have that foothold. And then kids would become sort of very lonely and depressed. You could sort of see it in their body language and their mannerisms. A lot of them would sort of, Stanford has developed this weird culture of kids going away from campus all the time. They're not spending a lot of time at school or sort of detaching from the school.